It all began with a quiet restlessness, a subtle stirring deep within that I couldn't quite name. It was as if something inside me was gently urging me to look beyond the familiar, to question the boundaries of my everyday life. There was a growing sense that life's routines had become too small for my spirit, that the comfort of repetition was slowly dulling my curiosity. I felt hemmed in by the predictable, longing for a taste of the unknown. Often I'd find myself lost in daydreams, gazing at maps, tracing routes over mountains I'd never seen, imagining the feel of the wind on distant ridges. Each line on the map became a promise, a possibility, a story waiting to unfold. The Balkans called to me, not loudly but with a persistent whisper of adventure and mystery. Their wild landscapes seemed to beckon, offering both challenge and discovery. Stories of rugged peaks and resilient people fueled my imagination. I pictured ancient trails winding through remote villages, and the enduring spirit of those who called these mountains home. I wanted to walk not as a tourist but as a pilgrim, seeking a new version of myself. I yearned for a journey that would test my limits and reveal hidden strengths. Could I carry my life on my back, navigate the unknown, and find strength in discomfort? Would I be able to adapt, to trust my instincts, and to embrace the solitude that comes with venturing off the beaten path? I craved a freedom built on self-reliance, on needing little and facing the unknown. The idea of waking up to the sound of wind in the trees, of making camp beneath a sky full of stars, filled me with anticipation. So I planned, bought maps, packed my bag, and began to prepare for the journey ahead. Each step of preparation felt like a small act of courage, a commitment to the adventure I was about to undertake. I chose each item with care, weighing what I truly needed against what I could leave behind. Every piece of gear became a symbol of intention, a reminder that I was choosing to step into uncertainty. The decision was made. I would walk the Balkans, following unwalked paths to see where they'd lead. With every doubt, I reminded myself that the greatest journeys begin with a single, uncertain step. This journey was about more than a new place. It was about becoming braver, freer, and more connected to the world, and perhaps most importantly, to myself. My journey began on a sunlit morning in a mountain village, the air alive with wood smoke and wildflowers. The world felt fresh, as if it had been washed clean overnight, and I could sense the promise of something new in the gentle breeze. The village, nestled between rolling hills, seemed to whisper stories of adventure to anyone willing to listen. With my first step onto the trail, the weight of routine fell away. Each stride felt like a quiet rebellion against the familiar, a conscious choice to leave behind the predictable and step into the unknown. Every sensation was heightened, the crunch of gravel, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of a bird. The world seemed to come alive around me, every sound and scent sharper, more vivid, as if nature itself was welcoming me into its embrace. Moving at my own pace, I noticed the world's details, sunlight through trees, tiny flowers in the rocks. I found myself pausing often, drawn to the small wonders I'd usually overlook, a spider's web glistening with dew, the way the light danced on a petal, the earthy scent of moss and pine. Walking became meditation, a slow unfolding of freedom in quiet moments, cooling my feet in a stream, watching the sunset, standing on a ridge. Each pause was a chance to breathe deeply, to let go of worries, and to simply exist in the present. The worries of my old life faded in the face of such grandeur. Surrounded by vast mountains and endless sky, my problems seemed small, almost insignificant, compared to the timeless beauty before me. Freedom wasn't escape, but immersion. Embracing the simplicity of walking, needing only food, water, and rest. My pack was light, my needs few, and I found a quiet joy in the rhythm of the trail, and the honest hunger that came with each mile. This simplicity cleared my mind, letting me focus on what mattered. The clutter of daily life faded, replaced by a sense of clarity and purpose I hadn't felt in years. The path ahead was uncertain, but for the first time I felt exactly where I was meant to be. The unknown no longer frightened me. Instead, it filled me with anticipation and hope. Each step expanded my world. With every mile, I discovered new strengths within myself, and a growing sense of belonging to the wild places I walked through. I realized freedom was about being present, not running away. It was about meeting each moment with open eyes and an open heart, allowing the journey to shape me as much as I shaped my path. I walked on, open to whatever the trail would bring, knowing that with every step, I was moving closer to a truer version of myself. Deeper into the Balkans, the Dinaric Alps rose before me, jagged, formidable, and breathtaking. Their peaks clawed at the sky, forests thick with pine and beech, valleys echoing with ancient secrets. The air was thin and pure, scented with pine and earth. Silence reigned, broken only by wind or the cry of an eagle. In this vast quiet, my thoughts grew clearer. The mountains became a place for reflection. The trails were steep and demanding, but each challenge built my confidence. I learned to read the land, trust my instincts, and respect the mountain's power. Days found a rhythm: climb, summit, descend, repeat. Solitude here was both daunting and peaceful, a freedom from distraction and noise. In the heart of the Dinaric Alps, I learned to simply be. The mountains whispered their secrets, and I listened. The trails were narrow, ancient ribbons of dirt winding through the landscape. They seemed to stretch endlessly, threading their way through hills and valleys, as if they had always belonged to the earth itself. Each footstep felt like a gentle echo of those who had come before, a quiet conversation with history beneath my boots. Each step traced history, paths once used by shepherds and traders, now guiding me. I imagined the stories carried along these routes, the laughter of travelers, the burdens of merchants, the solitude of wanderers. The trail was a living memory, and I was just the latest in a long line of souls to follow its course. Sometimes the path clung to steep mountainsides, demanding focus and courage. The drop below was dizzying, the wind sharp and insistent, reminding me of my own vulnerability. Every careful step was a test of balance and trust, a reminder that adventure often walks hand in hand with risk. These precarious stretches taught me that freedom isn't always easy, it often requires bravery. The reward for facing fear was a sense of exhilaration, a rush of gratitude for the chance to move forward despite uncertainty. The views from these places were always the most spectacular. From high above, the world opened up in all directions, rolling valleys, distant peaks, and the endless sky. It was as if the land itself was offering a gift to those willing to make the climb. Other times the trail led into deep forest, sunlight barely piercing the canopy. The air grew cooler, filled with the scent of moss and earth, and the sounds of the outside world faded into a gentle hush. In these green tunnels I felt an intimate connection with nature. Every leaf, every bird call, every shaft of light seemed to speak directly to me, inviting me to slow down and simply be present. The path became my teacher, dictating pace and direction, offering simplicity and surrender. I learned to listen to the rhythm of my own footsteps, to let go of hurry and expectation, and to trust the journey as it unfolded. I learned to let go of control, trusting the journey to unfold. With each mile I discovered a new kind of freedom, the freedom that comes from acceptance, from letting the path lead instead of forcing my own way. The narrow path wasn't a limitation, it was a guide, leading me to a deeper understanding of myself. Its twists and turns mirrored the uncertainties of life, teaching me patience and resilience. I followed, step by step, into the unknown. Each bend in the trail was a promise of discovery, a gentle nudge to keep moving forward, no matter how uncertain the destination. Each day, the path revealed a little more of who I could become. With every sunrise I felt myself growing, more open, more curious, and more at home in the world, guided by the narrow spine of the land beneath my feet. The Balkans is a world of water and wood, rivers tumbling from the mountains, forests ancient and wild. The sound of flowing water became my constant companion, a melody of life. I dipped my hands in icy streams, feeling their energy. Forests of beech and fir stood like ancient guardians, sunlight filtering through leaves. The air was thick with the scent of earth and life. In these woods I felt timeless, surrounded by deer, butterflies, and soaring eagles. Encounters with wild creatures reminded me this land was shared, not owned. Immersed in nature I disconnected from the artificial and reconnected with what's real. The river's song and the forest's heart taught me that true freedom is recognizing our place in nature. Not every day was gentle. Storms rolled in, turning paths to rivers of mud. I was exposed, vulnerable, fear creeping in as the wind howled. The physical toll was real, aching muscles, blistered feet, the temptation to quit. Loneliness sometimes pressed in, the silence of the mountains amplifying my thoughts. I learned to find comfort in my own company, to let loneliness pass without letting it consume me. Overcoming these challenges became the heart of my search for freedom. Each time I pushed through pain or fear, I discovered new strength. Freedom wasn't the absence of hardship, but the courage to keep going. The storm would pass, my body would adapt, and the loneliness would fade. These moments forged my resilience. the hardest days taught me the most about what it means to be free. I kept walking, stronger with every step. Every step in the Balkans was on ancient ground, a crossroads of empires and cultures. I passed Roman ruins, medieval fortresses, and stone churches, each a silent witness to history. In a remote meadow I found steki, medieval tombstones carved with mysterious symbols. Sitting among them, I felt the weight of centuries and the endurance of a people. More recent scars, bullet-pocked buildings, stories of war, spoke of pain and resilience. Yet I saw hope. People rebuilding, fields replanted, spirits unbroken. My journey echoed a larger struggle for freedom, repeated through generations. The ancient stones and modern scars reminded me, freedom is precious, hard-won, and always worth striving for. As my walk ended, I stood on a final peak, changed in ways I hadn't expected. I'd searched for freedom as a destination, but found it in the journey itself. Freedom was simplicity, knowing how little I needed to be happy. It was self-reliance, connection, and perspective gained from the mountains. Returning home, the world was the same, but I was different, calmer, more at peace. I learned to find wildness in small moments, to carry the silence of forests within me. The journey gave me a new compass for life. Freedom isn't about escape, but about how we choose to live. Even the narrowest paths can lead to the widest views. The search for freedom continues, one step at a time.